Hey youth, I'm Jake. Today we're going to talk about the story of Jesus and Zacchaeus. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you need to know about Zacchaeus is that he was short. Now, you might not know this, but I'm shorter than your average guy. I've been short my entire life. And because of that, I've got this weird kinship with Zacchaeus. I don't really know how to explain it, but he's short and I'm short. And the similarities pretty much end there, but you get what I'm saying. We're kind of like short bros. But oftentimes, most people, all they remember about the story of Zacchaeus is that Zacchaeus was short. But there's actually some really good life lessons to be learned from this story. So let's take a look. Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. There was a man there named Zacchaeus. He was the chief tax collector in the region, and he had become very rich. So Jesus is going around teaching from town to town, and he's coming to the town of Jericho. And there's a lot of people interested in what he has to say, and Zacchaeus is one of them. But the thing about Zacchaeus is that he was a tax collector, and everybody hated him. So back in that time, Jericho was a Jewish town that was occupied by the Roman government. And so Zacchaeus was hired to collect taxes by the Romans from his own people. And the way that he would do that is he would charge them $100, whatever they owed, and then he would tack on maybe $25 or $50, and then he would keep that for himself. So you can see why he was hated. He tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short to see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore-fig tree beside the road, for Jesus was going to pass that way. Okay, so Zacchaeus was short, couldn't see over the crowd, and had to climb a tree. Now, this is where that short kinship comes in. I get this. You got to do what you got to do when you're short. When Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and called him by name. "Zacchaeus," he said, "quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today." So out of nowhere, Jesus invites himself over to Zacchaeus' house. Quick word of advice, don't invite yourself over to a stranger's house. First, it's pretty rude, but secondly, it's really unsafe. So we're going to give Jesus a pass on this one though, because he's God. But this was a really big surprise for Zacchaeus. He wasn't very popular, and he probably didn't have a lot of guests or friends. So here's the first lesson from the story. Jesus pursues us. Notice in the story that Jesus is the one that approaches Zacchaeus. He's the one that wants to initiate the relationship. And this is characteristic of God throughout the Bible. He's the one that is always pursuing us first. So it doesn't matter where you're at in your understanding with God. What you need to recognize now is that he is also actively pursuing you. The next thing we see is that Jesus unleashes our potential. Meeting Jesus was a life-changing experience for Zacchaeus. When we read on in the story, we see that there was an immediate change. Zacchaeus stood before the Lord and said, "I will give half my wealth to the poor, Lord, and if I have cheated people on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much." So even though Zacchaeus was known for being a bad guy, Jesus saw his potential. Jesus saw an opportunity here for Zacchaeus to do great things in the name of God. And the same is true for you. He sees you for your potential. He wants to meet you where you're at and have a relationship with you. He wants to transform your life and use you in powerful ways. The last thing we see is that Jesus came to help those who need it. Zacchaeus' life was transformed by Jesus because he understood who Jesus was and why he was here. And Jesus takes this opportunity to let everyone know why he has come to earth. For the Son of Man came to seek and save those who are lost. So even though Zacchaeus was rich and powerful, he had a lot of flaws, and he had a need for Jesus. And the same is true for us. It doesn't matter what you've got going for you. You might be athletic or smart or popular or tall, but the Bible says that we all have a need for Jesus. But the good news is that he is actively pursuing you. He wants to have a relationship with you, and he wants to transform your life.